Hello everybody, this is Diane and I'm here to share with you a special design team project for Vectoria Designs. I am using their newly released digital journal kit called Cozy Cottage. It's just released today, so I will leave the link to it in the description of this video. There are a lot of pieces. It's a large kit, so I made 2 journals with the pages. I believe there were 18 pages, no, 17 pages, and I printed one of them twice so that I could have 9 pages for each journal. There are also small elements to cut out, along with a couple of pockets. There is a free bonus page that you will get. I believe that you will give her your email when you place your order, and she will email you that bonus. I'm not sure exactly how you're going to get the bonus, but there is 1 page of bonus ephemera that you will get with the kit. In addition to the journal pages, there are these full pages that are up and down on a 9.5 by 11 page. So this is one of them. It's just cut, and that is one. This is a portion of one, and this one with all the little stamps. So I didn't print all of them. There's another one. Oh, this one is actually this. I printed this one and then I couldn't find it, so I printed it again. So I did print some of them, and you can see I cut them up and used them. I made journal cards out of them, or tags, and I cut these little elements out and used them. And there was another sheet of these sort of images but bigger, and I used them. And I have an envelope of leftover pieces that I will divide up. So this is there was a sheet full of images like that, and I used quite a few of them. So anyway, let us go through the book. I want you to see how I used these little pieces and how I used the big sheets in different ways in this journal, these journals. So let's go in. I used this beautiful vintage book cover that had this little border on the front of it. The colors of the kit are primarily peach and green. So I used this green cover, and I did a collage with peach and green fabrics and this vintage lace. And then these are elements that I cut from the pages of the book, the digital kit. These are some of the ephemera pieces. The back of the cover is just plain, and I love this trim that I found excuse me, at Hobby Lobby, and so that really made a nice accent on the cover. The cover was reconstructed with a heavy chipboard, some Tyvek material, and then fabric. There are 3 signatures, and I used this little loop ring. It's got a fat, goodness, I can't talk. It attaches like a brad, and I punched a hole and put that in there, and then I made this pretty tassel with peaches and greens and creams, fabrics, seam binding, fibers. And inside I used a piece of scrapbook paper to cover the end paper, and then this was one of the images from the kit. It says houses and cottages, and I just put that there. It could have been a journaling spot, but I put it there to be your book plate, and I backed it with a piece of coral paper. The first page of each signature has a tuck spot and a word and a collage, and it's got some peach vintage lace and some muslin, and then the word, and this is the word journal. And this is a magazine cover. It's an image from the kit, and it says American Homes and Gardens. I just built it up by adding a little bit of green and peach colored cardstock to it and sewed it. You can see I used a little bit of a fancy stitch there. and punched a hole here with a reinforcement and a bulb pin. I didn't hang anything on the bulb pin. And I added this beautiful vintage card for you. I love this card. It was attached to a wedding gift, I believe, in the 1940s. And can you see it's got some gilt on it? It's just beautiful. And the colors were perfect, so I tucked it in there. And I added lace on the front page of each signature also, and which happens to be made of a pale green parchment paper. I stamped the word happiness there. Here's a little green ledger, and I attached a vintage playing card with this pretty lady and her dog in the garden. You can see how old that card is. It's a soft card. It's not stiff like most playing cards. Here is one of the beautiful pages from the digital kit. There are lots of images of homes. It is called Cozy Cottage. And then there are lots of flowers and lots of ephemera and trinkets and little collage pieces on this kit. And I would love to live in that little cottage, wouldn't you? And then there are several pages for writing on, so I used a variety of them to back the journal pages. And there's plenty of room to write on most of the journal pages too. Some of them are fully decorated, but a lot of them have white space. This is a guest check book, not guest check, guest book, where guests would sign in at a wedding. This is from a vintage songbook, and I love the color of the paper. And these are 3 of the little elements from the kit. The word forever and love are on circles. And then this I cut out from one of the it had 2 words on it, I believe. I just cut out the word house. And I have a video and this is going to be published July 8th, and I'm making this video on July 3rd. And it was a couple days ago that I made the video showing how I colored these pieces with distress inks. And I stamped this circle stamp with music in it. So that's how you can use one way you can use the tiny pieces if you want to build them up and make them more substantial and add some color. And then this is one of the images from the kit. And they're wonderful to just glue on a page as an accent, as they are, but I did a lot of different things with the little pieces. I made this little sack out of some green paper. I have a die that cuts these. And this is one of the squares from that one sheet that I cut. You'll see a lot of these with the pretty colors. And this is one of the pieces from the kit. Another thing you can do with the little pieces is just add a little accent on your other embellishments. I have a video showing how I made these tags. It's the same video that shows the coloring of these, because I colored this also with distress ink. Stamped on it, added texture paste, and then I think that might have been, no, it wasn't cut from that. I think it's cut from the same page as this. Has 2 little images on it. And the tags ended up with color on the back, but I like it, so it adds a little interest to the back also. This is a flashcard that I had Mod Podged this napkin on it a long time ago, and it has the colors that I needed for this kit, so in it went. There's a square doily there just for decoration. Another page from the kit that you can write on. A little house down here. And this is a peachy colored page with an image there. And I also made these embellishments with little tiny colored tags and colored safety pins, little pieces of vintage fabric and some colored fabric. This is a dyed paper that I got from an Etsy shop called 9 of Crones. And this set of paper was called Tangerine. I don't know what she dyed it with, but that's the color she named it. So it's perfect with this kit. This is a sheet of vintage stationery, just a plain piece. I think it's got decoration on the other side. Another page from the kit. You can see there's lots of space for writing with this kit. Another tag from the coloring episode. It was a plain white tag, and I just colored it, and then I cut out this little piece from that one sheet that looks like it's full of stamps, and used a tiny paper clip to clip them together and to the page. Here's the other side of that stationery. It's actually a stationery page that features Anne of Green Gables and her friend Diana. And there's the house with the Green Gables. And what a cozy cottage is that. Beautiful image to use in this book. I have 2 sheets of that. I believe someone sent them to me in a Happy Mail, and I've been hoarding them. But this was a perfect book to put them in. I put a little stamp image up there. And here is another thing I did with some of the small images. I just made a little bit of a collage on this page with a fabric ruffle, another tag that I colored. This is a tiny little vellum tag that I colored. I stamped on this and added a button, and then added that image from the kit. But there's lots of room for writing. This is one of the collage or the journal cards in the kit. I just glued it down there so you can write on it. And here's one I just used plain as it was, one of the little elements. I just glued it on there as a little accent. And this is the sheet that it was one of the full sheets, not a journal page. And I printed it on cardstock so I could make pockets out of it. I punched it with a scallop oval punch instead of my normal circle punch, and inked around it. I had this vintage wrapping paper with these beautiful ladies, and I made a little booklet out of it with some of the tangerine paper and some coffee dyed lined paper. And this is an element from the kit. And then I have a couple of stamps of houses, and I stamped them on. When I made the dyed tags, if you watch that video, you know that I just took some white cardstock and rubbed it around to soak up the extra. And I used that to make elements too, which you will see. And this is one of the things I did with it. I stamped my little houses on it and cut them out. You can journal on the back. But I don't use those house stamps very often, and I thought they were perfect for this journal. This is a word cluster that I've had in my stash. I made these a little while ago, and I had a bunch of them, so I added them into the journals. This one says Vibrant. This is a strip that was part of the ephemera pages, and this little card that I added. And here's the second signature. This pocket is made up of 2 of the images of the elements from the ephemera pages. And I punched this out from scrapbook paper, and I just glued them all together to create this little tuck spot. And there's that word collage. It says Cottage. Here's another image from the wrapping paper. I just backed it with the peach dyed paper. And that stamp says Wonderful. Here's a playing card that has a cottage with a pink roof on it. It's a vintage card. The details. You will want to take your time and look at all the details on these pages. And with these were some heart shapes, so I used my heart punch and punched out from the dyed cardstock that I mopped up. So that was a great way to use them. Another image from the kit. This is from that songbook, but it's the cover of a piece of sheet music. And I did another collage with a couple of her elements and some lace to make a tuck spot, and this is one of their cards. It says, Fill your home with sunshine. Look at this page. This is one of the fully decorated pages. Looks like someone's scrapbook, but they've layered their images just like we like to do. There's an embossed doily there that I just rubbed with some inks. This is a doily that I colored with Distress inks, just like I did the tags. And I just cut a portion of it out to add to the corner, and another little stamp image with a cottage on it. Vintage embroidered linen there with a safety pin and a tag. So making a variety of collages is a great thing to do with those little pieces. This is just scalloped stationery. Another one of those colored tags with a stamp image. And here's another little collage. Instead of the ruffled fabric, here I used this, I stamped this image on one of those mop-up cardstock pieces and did my little collage. I found buttons in my button jar that had the original thread still in there, so that's vintage thread in your buttons. Another little collage I did with two of the elements, a small one and a medium-sized one, and then some cardstock scraps. I punched this one with that oval scallop punch, and then I did a border punch on this one. Everything was inked. And here's a glassine bag, and I added another one of my colored tags, and this is an element from the kit. And tucked behind this is a vintage Western Union telegraph from 1949. Congratulations, thrilled at the wonderful news, Aunt Esther and Uncle Tully. And this was sent to someone in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Here's another pocket I made with one of those full-size pages that I had printed. And I made a tag by cutting this part off, and then I made a tag out of this and another tag out of this, which you'll see in the other book. And I backed the tag with another full-size page that I had cut out. I think it was part of this. So it had a design at the bottom, and the top looks like brick. So I used that to back that tag. And then I used this little part of their digital. So everything on here is part of the digitals. It's another one of my collages, little clusters. There was, I think this was one piece, little piece like this, and then the other strip that I had used was a longer piece that I cut in half. Here's another, the third signature, and this is just a scrap of scrapbook paper that I had, and another magazine cover image from their kit. I used the word wishes up there. I love these little pieces that look like they're signs pointing, and some go to the right and some go to the left. And another piece of the wrapping paper. This says Sparkle. And here is the tea card image from the kit. There's the same image right there. Another card from the kit, and this time I used a different punch. Punched with out of these mop-up scraps. So this sign is pointing to the right and this sign is pointing to the left. And there are two pockets in the kit, and I used this pocket in this book, and I inked all around it, and I backed it with a craft paper that, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of subtle, but I stamped it with a wood grain design. There's a lot of wood grain look. All of these little images have a wood grain pattern on them. So I used that. And then this beautiful, I love the color, beautiful tag card fits into the pocket perfectly. Here's another doily that I colored, and another embroidered piece and a little tag. This is a beautiful piece of stationery. You'll see more of the design on the other side. There it is. Another collage with the fabric ruffle and the tag and one of the beautiful colorful images. This one, I didn't want to cover up the lady on this, so I moved the glassine bag up. And it's another texture paste and colored and stamped tag with one of their images. I did a video making these tags, but I didn't add the image because I didn't want you to see the kit before it was released. And this is another little vintage gift tag, and it's got a peach background, and I believe this was a wedding gift tag from the 40s. Doesn't have a date, but all of the pieces that came with this were from the 40s, like that telegram. And here's another pocket made from one of their full-size pages. It's got a lady on a hammock. And this is a digital or a handmade ephemera piece that I had in my stash. It's made with a time card and a digital of a floral seed packet. I have these in my shop, these digitals, and some lace and a colorful brad. I just tucked that in there. Another word cluster. It says charming. This is the piece, the strip that I had cut in half. I think that's on the free bonus ephemera sheet. And on the back I used my Tim Holtz slotted pocket die and made this and tucked in some more ephemera pieces. Several of them are from the kit, and then these are just some little tags that I stamped and cut out, and another of her little words that I glued to a little circular tag. So I'll go through this one more quickly. I won't have to explain everything, but I may have cluttered the front of this cover a little too much, but there it is. Everything's there. There's another of the digitals that I fussy cut and another little image, and then this was a strip with this phrase on it, home is where the heart is, and I just cut it apart. And I used this really pretty colored fabric for the spine. This is made with a Reader's Digest book cover that had a peach marble design, and it has a tassel again like the other one did. Here is a vintage card, birthday card. There's a booklet there. So I should say that I printed the digital kit once. I printed one extra page, and I printed the bonus ephemera sheet twice, so both kits could have all of those elements. And then I printed some of the full-size pages, as I talked about, and it made the two journals. So the only things that I duplicated was one of the journal pages, and one of the ephemera pages. So there's a lot of stuff. So all of these pages are different from the ones that were in the other book, except for one page. I love this one. And I cut this, fussy cut this out of this page. I think it's this one. And it makes a nice accent on that. It says make art up there. This is the page I printed twice. I used a die to cut this out of this. Maybe it's from a different page. Nope, it's this one right up here. I cut this out with a scallop die, and then I cut this out of cardstock with a slightly larger die. They come in the same set. I think they're from Stampin' Up, but I don't remember. Anyway, it made it. I needed another big circle, so that's what I did. And another colored doily here. Stationery with violets on it. And in this, behind this pocket is another vintage piece from 1949, and it's for the same couple, I believe. I think all of these vintage pieces came in a scrapbook that I got, I believe. Anyway, it's 1949, and it's typed on old typing paper or rice paper. And here is another tag with one of the kit's elements on there. There's the house that I stamped, and this is the other tag that I made with this paper. There are 4 shapes like this, so I put 2 in each journal. This is just an element that I made a long time ago. Punched out heart that I stamped on. It's got a little bit of lace and a button. This is one of the images from the kit. It looks like an old sepia photograph. It's really pretty. And here's the other pocket. One of these pockets is on the bonus sheet. It might be this one. And this little label is part of the kit. And then I just tucked this, looks like an old photograph, into the pocket. There's the Anne of Green Gables paper again. So I only had 2 sheets of it, and I've used them both. But this was the perfect journal project to use them in. And I love, love, love this. I hate to give it away, but it's got this peach, kind of like acetate background. And it's perfect. It looks like a cottage garden. It's just beautiful. It says to cheer you. And opens up. You could actually journal on that if you wanted to. But isn't that pretty and perfect for this journal? So I had to give it up to put it in there. Another tuck spot I made with the full size sheet, and I didn't have to fussy cut that. That's already printed on there. And then another one of the journal cards that I made with the time card. And this cluster says smile. And then another Tim Holtz pocket. There's another photograph image from the kit, and a tag and a circle. Oh, I didn't mention in the first journal, but on the back of the circle it has my signature. And then I just clip these little circle images on tags. I clip them to the bottom slot. And then this label is here for you to write something on. I don't know where I took that from. I'll put it back in. I'm not sure where it came from. Don't remember taking it out. Anyway, I bet it came from there. Yes, it did. Okay, so these journals are now, excuse me, these journals are now available in my shop, and the journal kit is now available at Vectoria Designs, and I will, on Etsy, and I will link that. I'll link the kit below, and I'll link my shop below. So pay us both a visit, and if you do make a purchase at Vectoria Designs, whether it's this kit or something else, because there are plenty of things there. They have so much stuff there. Just tell them I sent you. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your patience with this long video as I explained everything, and I hope you got some ideas for how to use digital images in digital pages in different ways with some of the things that I did. And as a reminder, I will be dividing these things up between the two journals, so you'll have some elements, more elements to play with yourself. So have a creative day today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.